This is Merville Myers, your blogger from Almagrove, based on BBC London adding me to their marathon group on Instagram. I'm going to take this opportunity to show how Miss Gilchrist, how Miss Presley and Merville Myers, who are victims of Housing for Women, are proactive in capturing evidence. That means HHJ Richard Roberts has no jurisdiction to impose the judgment of District Judge Sarah Elizabeth Beecham, who chickened out after I said to her, if I become 1 in 5 of all suicides are associated with unemployment, then you're responsible. So I'm going to scroll down. Yeah, I have not received the order for the judgment, for the possession. There is no order. All I got is this. Yeah? So let me scroll down and show you what Miss Presley has been doing and how dare them telling me to come off social media. Councils are exposing homeless children to serious health and safeguarding risks by housing them in unsuitable temporary accommodation, and inquiry by MPs has found. Yeah? Councils putting homeless children at risk, MP finds. Yeah? Lewisham Council also rehouse children in unsafe housing, social housing landlords who exploit, manipulate and harm children while they're growing in permanent social housing like in Lewisham, Southwark and Greenwich. Yeah? What kind of sick mindset do professionals have when they rescue victims of domestic abuse and violence only to hand them over and rehouse them with an abuser landlord who abuses and harms victims, survivors and community? Yeah? Here we are. Here we are. Yeah? District Judge Beecham, you can make concession. Yeah? The rent is over 90 p.m. for the unaffordable 2-bed with non-existent discriminatory service and a coercive CEO who uses it. So I'm not even going down the rest. Yeah? Why does Lewisham Council continue to allow housing for women to increase rents for non-existent services, non-existent repairs, non-existent maintenance, discriminatory above the law, coercive and abusive practices, holding ransom repair services, equality, diversity and inclusion? Yes? There are many great charities, but there are also some of the worst housing association charities like Housing for Women, who hold ransom repairs, maintenance service, SARS, FRAS, equality, diversity and inclusion, while increasing. H4 spent 90k in court to evict Merville. They spent more than 90k on Childers Street on housing disrepairs claims, NDAs, compensation, and displacing multiple households due to repairs being ignored by the charity who stated it was a political decision. So I'm talking about social media, yeah? I am social media. Housing for Women have not tackled leaks, damps, defects, disrepair, and the recent botch-up flooring replacement works for the defective flooring carried out by repairs limited to multiple complaints from household being ignored. Yeah? Here we are, people. The charity evicted a tenant from Childers Street after they intentionally failed her and caused her to relapse like our neighbor who died from an overdose in April 2016. Housing for Women go out of their way to push people 6 feet under. Yeah? Everything that happened to people on Children's Street and here happened on your watch, under your leadership, with NDAs, threats. Yes, the police, bullying, abuse of power, intimidation, stalking, litigation, abuse, and coercive, whatever. They intentionally cause problems between neighbors to get them to fight to turn them against each other. What am I saying? To divide them. And they did end up excluding and ganging up like a gang to push them into a mental health crisis and isolate and harm them further. It's a form of abuse. All right. Hey, cause Dr. Proudman, the charity denied contempt of court to send us prison and wanting to evict us despite Ethel telling Vicky Foxcroft and others they wanted to evict us and Merville nearly whatever. They intentionally caused problems with other contractors by instructing them to carry out wrong repairs while some companies lie for housing for women to cover up and support their abuse of power, discrimination and victimization, and then they blame the other contractors. What did I say? I'll pick up the pattern. So they start the problem with contractors. They bring in men over from Asia. I've seen 2 of them here. And one of them called me on the phone. They can't speak English. Extractor fan was meant to be replaced in 2018 by whatever, after Wetterate Company Electrician said it needed soundproofing to reduce noise. Yeah? CEO Zeba, alright. I have enough there. They also intentionally cause problems with perpetrators of domestic abuse, violence, knife crime, gang members, and hate crimes with GDPR breaches and then deny any accountability and responsibility when tenants are harmed, assaulted, robbed, and attacked. Isn't this your... Didn't I get somebody to do work? Miss Presley. She's not coming out, so it's me and she working. If Housing for Women was a charity run by men or PRS, male landlords who did these things to survivors, victims, vulnerable, yeah? Giving you a gist. To this day, the mayor of Lewisham has refused to visit the community despite her wanting happy stories in the press. She and others ensure to keep our community deprived and excluded with no community safety support or care. I hope Mandy and Alicia do not get to violate, harm, and abuse any person again, like they did us when they lied in court, and to District Judge Luba to cover up for whatever appears. Yeah? There we go. Okay. Somebody done the hard work. If our landlord was a police officer, judge, or social worker, they would be prosecuted for the misery, harm, negligence, abuse of power, misconduct, and deaths of tenants. But they are protected like they're a gang, mafia, or cartel, dictators of London with spy ops. Lewisham Council, it's an utter disgrace how your council leaders, MPs, and so-called Labour Council continue to defend, protect, and support the charities' deplorable, dehumanizing, and degrading treatments of adults and children. Yeah? Yeah? Here we are. Talking about Black history, I can see Black history in there. Then when me put my thing, hopefully, LBL officers and environmental health officers will finally visit the community and speak with each household who did not displace and neighbors who have been discriminated against, violated, harmed, victimized, traumatized, and failed to share with Memoji Yoda. Customer panel. Yeah, I'm going to make this into a book. Yeah? Because I was the minute taker for the customer panel, but it was disbanded by Zeba Qureshi. So how many years later, after the housing ombudsman have to take out something or other? Yeah, because of overcharging in rent. This is going to be a book. See the name there? Backs up my story of men being trafficked to come and work, take over the job of contractors. Yeah? So I'm just going to go down. Yeah? Here we are. Yeah? The ex-mayor of Lewisham and Lewisham Council were unable to provide the details of deaths of tenants and the current mayor doesn't care and would rather people here die or be killed. Yeah, I think I should go out the road and come back. Right. Are you going to do a report on perpetrators working in the social housing sector and the experience of victims, survivors, family, and the community living in general needs housing? So this is Merville Myers for my arguments. Yeah? For my arguments. For my arguments. Yeah? For my arguments. District Judge Sarah Elizabeth Beecham. District Judge Sarah Elizabeth Beecham, you're going to jail and you're going to compensate me.